let us take some sacred moments now to rise to the summit of our consciousness, to join in this moment the great Om of the universe. Let us take time to realize deep within ourselves the inconceivable glory of the mighty time we are in. And as we project our spirits forward into the elevated grandeur of the new millennium, what do we perceive that is happening right now in us, through us, and for us? We know that life itself moves to ever express the greater. And we are one, right now, each one of us here, with the totality of life throughout the cosmos, throughout the ages, on every plane and in every dimension, right here and now. We affirm now that we are moving as a great collective body of consciousness to express the light transcendent of our beingness, more wonderful, absolutely, than ever before. Yes, we are moving up the evolutionary scale as a one body of being. We are God's idea of greatness unfolding. We are moving up into our light bodies and full awareness of who and what we are as sons and daughters of the Most High. We are bringing out, each one of us here, that which was installed and instated from the very beginning, aligning now with the higher patterns of ourselves. Our acceleration at this moment, today, commenced a long time ago, way down the hallways of eternity, back and back, before the consciousness of time, before we could hear the very echoes of time. The perfection of our transfigured selves lay resident in the God manifestation of us, the God seed, the God atom, or idea. Thus we realize within the first impulsion or spark of creation, when the first manifestation of life materialized on the pure breath of God, all potential of resounding life force was and emancipation was manifest. Traveling down the timeline, overviewing all, we then witness the supreme beginning and promise of our time today, when a divine being emerged on the scene, a descendant like ourselves of the divine idea, the beloved Jesus, individualized, laid out, and demonstrated the perfect pattern of life and ascension into highest consciousness and bliss for each and every one. The cosmic way-shower, through himself, fulfilled the promise that you and I and all the world are fulfilling now as we align ourselves. He realized and brought to fruition the potential grandeur of the relationship to the great creative principle for the one son, daughter, or the one offspring of God, which is you and me and all that is. This sublime one lived his life, completing to perfection every single phase of ascension, all the way up and through every chakra, to the complete manifestation of the life principle of immortality. Living to the fullest, I am in this earth, but not of it. I and the Father are one. Jesus was the first one to cross that dividing line between third and fourth dimensional realities, to demonstrate, beyond a shadow of a doubt, God and man-woman as one, God and the divinity of every being. So now it is time for us to respond to the call through our individual lives and through our global attitudes to pick up the staff, so to speak, that was laid down by the masters, and to become for ourselves the divine pattern fulfilled in our own consciousness. For us to cross the dividing lines, the barriers, the great continental divides within ourselves, and ascend into our higher selves, our higher patterns of perfection. Now is time to elect the higher options. You have a choice in every instance to respond from your divinity or from your limitation. Now is the time always to elect the higher, to marry heaven or high consciousness with our actual livingness, that we may fully prepare and empower ourselves for entrance into this new millennium, which is now, where we are collectively birthing into a new dimension of expression. And so as the great ones who have gone before us, we too are now rending the veil between spirit and matter. We are now including the great X factor, the God factor, in all that concerns us, dissolving concepts of separation between spirit, matter, ourselves, others, performing the great universal synthesis and reuniting with the blissful and the sublime. We are the harmonic convergence. Each one of us is moving mountains of negation and confusion to reveal the eternal face of God within, the light, the mighty master within ourselves. As Christ, the Buddha, all mystics, masters, saints, and sages, and avatars that have gone before, we are claiming our own, revealing the God Self, the Buddhic presence, Atman within us. No more for us God and man, God and the individual, but always Christed God-man, God-woman, fully installed, fully instated, fully activated, and holding up the perfection and the glory within us. And in this temple of the new city within ourselves, what are the corrections? What are the transformative tools we are using to heal our own minds and in turn to resound through the great collective mind of knowing? We are replacing all beliefs, consciously, all beliefs in division, separation, and we are transforming these beliefs to be an energy of unity. I believe in the one. I live by the law of the one. Criticism, harshness, we are replacing these things, transforming them to reflect divine compassion, kindness. In other words, who amongst us? Who amongst us? Selfishness and self-interest, we are coming out of the beautiful era of individuality, where we learn to express ourselves. Now we must come into a global concept, a one body of being concept with ourselves. Releasing selfishness, self-interest, and replacing it with global empathy. Universal sharing, and this doesn't require traveling, it's an attitude in mind. Universal sharing, and we are replacing all of the competitive, separative things that we've been raised to operate on with harmony, agreement, affinity, mutuality, and helping. Rather than competing, we help and we hold up one another. We are done with duality, belief in two powers, forever. For now, we acknowledge only one, the law of the one thing that is. How are we doing this? Through ourselves, consciously, preferring love and God and oneness. above all, above all. We live now to express the power, love, and glory of the universal spirit within. There are no more gods out there. We no longer live in bondage to matter, but to serve divine principles and oneness. Now we are universally recognizing the God within, and we recognize there is a universal Father-Mother principle throughout the ages that guides, moves through, and operates through each one of us as love, unity, and power, without exception. And as we build our new city within, the promises of our own great forefathers of this country shall come through. At Mount Rushmore, on Independence Day, I saw those great carvings of Washington, Lincoln. These spiritual beings held the highest, noblest concepts. Our country was founded in that. It was a projection of the divine idea from the beginning. So as we come into realizing who and what we are in this mighty place, that divine vision that was established from the beginning in this great America shall come forth, and we shall be ourselves at last and see all changed in the twinkling of an eye. As we perfect our emotional bodies with love and oneness, our mental bodies with limitless truth, and our physical with light immersion, we shall regain our immortal self with all the gifts and rights to live by miracles, to be love and to be loved, to express limitless good, immortal life and freedom, perfect health, wealth, and happiness. Yes, we are the ascending generation. We celebrate unity in diversity like the great mystic Dr. Holmes. There is absolutely room in our hearts for each and every one of our brothers and sisters to crystallize into the fullness of themselves. We live in the shining presence, recognizing only the atmosphere of God and presence, never absence. We are the planet of love and wisdom, expressing divine will, unity, and power. We have mastered our worlds outside on every level. Now we go within to become the masters of the spiritual kingdom, to settle in the Christ, Buddhic self. So I know that it's all in our choice. Evolution is happening. We all feel it. So it's our choice to move into the next dimension. And I know right now for each one of us that each one is choosing to express the highest degree of livingness, knowingness, and faithfulness that you can. We are contributing to the wellness of the great cosmic whole through our perfect knowingness. We are moving into our higher selves right now, becoming one and leaving the rest behind. We are exchanging the lesser for the greater right now. We are circulating our mighty assets of knowing, each one of us conscious of our unassailable divinity from the beginning. We are changing our cellular molecular patterns. We are bringing heaven to earth. We are bringing the future into the now, our higher potentiality into each and every experience. It's so wonderful that we are the peace and the power of the infinite who have come, and so it is. Don't forget, you're God on the job where you are.